Hey there, this is just going to be a quick little video providing a little bit of introduction to YAML in case you're not familiar with it. It's not going to be any slides. We're just going to jump into Visual Studio Code and try things out. So um, in VS Code, and that's just the code editor I tend to use, but you're welcome to use whatever you want. One of the things that I do is down in the bottom corner or along the bottom bar, you can select the language mode. And in this case, I've already selected YAML. It's just an untitled document, and we're just going to write some YAML. The way to think about YAML is key value structures. And so I can say name Michael Irwin, in which the key is name, and then the value is Michael Irwin. And pretty much everything in the YAML is key value. The values can be strings, the values can be objects, the values can be arrays, and we'll see. I'll break that up a little bit. So in this case, I just have a single key named name and a value named Michael. I could also break it up a little bit and say, all right, now I'm going to indent, and so now the value for name is going to be an object here, in which my let's say given name is Michael and surname is Irwin. Okay, so in this case, name is a key that has a value of an object, and given name, and so then that object then has a key name, given name, and value of Michael, and a key of surname, and a value of Irwin. Now, the way that I would kind of represent this annotation to be able to navigate through the structure, if I said name.given name, that would have a value of Michael. And same thing, name.surname would have a value of Irwin. Now, so YAML uses indentation to basically specify when I'm still within the name key. So now if I go back up and say email, for example, maybe email addresses. Okay, now I'm adding a new key at the top level. I'm no longer within the name structure. Now from here, I'm going to actually specify an array. And the way that I specify an array is I start with a dash. And I will specify MikeSir at vt.edu. And I also have an alias of MikeSir87 at vt.edu. Okay, so those are two different emails. And so if I looked at this, email addresses, the key has a value that's an array, in this case of two strings, that are my email addresses. Okay, and I can access those by doing something like this. Email addresses, now square brackets, and this is going to be zero index. So the first email address would be mikesir at vt.edu. Email addresses, one would then be the MikeSir87 at vt.edu. And now let's try one other thing. In fact, let's make this a little bit more complicated. I could say instead of the values in this array being just strings, they could also be objects. So I could say type is primary and address is MikeSir at vt.edu, type alias address MikeSir87 at vt.edu. So again, really YAML is a very simple structure. It's just key value pairs, and the values can be strings, booleans, or numbers. And then so strings, booleans, numbers, arrays, or other objects. That's pretty much it. So one of the other things that I can do is I have the Kubernetes extension installed here in VS Code. So I can just start writing pod, and it will give me this structure. I can say hello world, tab to the image, MikeSir87 hello world. And I don't remember what port that's on, 5000, which I don't think it is, but whatever. And again, this is another YAML document in which if I look at it, I have a key, keys of API version kind, metadata, and its value is another object that then has labels and name, etc. And again, that's pretty much YAML. So it's just key value pairs with some values being objects, that drill in deeper, or arrays in this case. Now, this is just a personal preference. Containers is a key in which the first element starts off with a dash here. Personally, I like to indent this in a little bit, and I should just select a tab, but it's totally up to you. Both are syntactically correct and the same, whether it's aligned with the key or bumped in one space. I like bumping it in just because it makes it a little bit easier to read, but again, totally up to you. And that's pretty much YAML. There's not much to it, and we're going to be using it a lot throughout the semester, so you'll want to get some experience with it. But I think you should be able to catch on pretty quickly. And if, as always, if you've got questions, feel free to reach out and let me know. Thanks. See ya.